Well, with the latest Disney Thanksgiving hit Moana 2 coming out, only fitting to talk about its predecessor, which came out 8 years ago up to this point. Jesus Christ. But I remember this movie came out when I was working my first job at the movie theater, and man, this movie was popular. And I feel like it really found its place nudged into the conversation with Tangled, Frozen. Which modern Disney princess movie do you like? Because you have Tangled, which is a pretty quintessential fairy tale environment. Frozen is taking place in a very wintry environment. And now you have Moana, which takes place in a very summer-like environment. Very warm, lots of beaches, lots of crystal clear water. Along with a killer soundtrack by Lin-Manuel Miranda, just coming off his run as Alexander Hamilton. And this was Lin-Manuel Miranda's introduction into kind of the Disney umbrella. But we follow an adventurous teenager named Moana, voiced here by Auli'i Carvalho. She sails out on a daring mission to save her people. And during her journey, Moana meets the once mighty demigod Maui, voiced by The Rock, who guides her in her quest to become a master wayfinder. And together they sail across the open ocean on an action-packed voyage, encountering enormous monsters and impossible odds. And along the way, Moana fulfills the ancient quest of her ancestors and discovers the one thing she always sought, her own identity. Which in modern Disney talk means that she's not a princess. Doesn't stop Disney from putting her in all the princess lineups now, does it? And actually, that's kind of my main issue with Moana. Like, I know that there's a lot of Disney tropes that a lot of people tend to overlook, but I am so sick of the trope of the main character, in this case, saying that she's not a certain thing, a princess. I've seen it so many times now. And it's getting to a point where even The Rock as Maui is saying that's literally what a princess is. You just said that you're the daughter of a chief here. You're a princess. You're going to take over his tribe at some point, and you're going to sit at the head of the table.
Should The Rock sit at the head of the table?
I don't know, or something along those lines. But even with all those cliches, Moana has so much that you can enjoy. First things first, Lin-Manuel Miranda did not miss with these songs. Like, this man really did feel like he was writing like he was running out of time. Like he was running out of time to make an impression on these people, and damn it, did he. So many toe-tapping songs along the way. How Far I'll Go, I've been hearing at so many auditions over the past 8 years. You're Welcome is another one, which I told you guys, The Rock, I knew he could sing. I watched The Rock concerts back in 2003. Like, I knew it, like, way before everybody else did. And then everybody acts so surprised, like, oh my god, The Rock can sing? I didn't know that. And I was like, yeah, it kind of pays to be a wrestling fan sometimes, huh? But I've also really had Shiny stuck in my head over the past day or so since I've watched it. That crab always gives me such a huge chuckle. If you're looking to get me to talk about myself, I will gladly do so. But I think our voice cast does a really good job. Auli'i Carvalho, this was her debut role here. I don't know if The Rock discovered her 8 years ago or what, how she got this part. Her singing voice obviously is spectacular, and I've been singing her praises so much over these past 8 years. How Far I'll Go really does rank up there with the better princess songs that we've been getting. And I think Moana is a very headstrong powerhouse here. Yes, this is another princess who is told to basically say, hey, you are not allowed to go here. You have to stay here. Okay? And these are the same directors that did The Little Mermaid back in 1989. And oddly enough, this story feels like Little Mermaid in reverse a little bit, doesn't it? A princess is instead told to stay on land instead of going out to the water. But Little Mermaid, she's told to stay in the water, and she can't be with the humans. And I've already been singing The Rock's praises. He is one of my favorite entertainers out there. I keep telling people The Rock is one of the main influences as to why I want to be involved in entertainment in some way. Like, look at this character design, too. Nobody else could have voiced this guy. Big Hawaiian demigod who's popping his pecs, tattoos everywhere. No question who this is. Like, he even does the eyebrow raise. Like, nobody else other than The Rock could have voiced Maui. And darn, in addition to the singing voice, he has me laughing quite a bit. Even though there is a pee joke in there that I don't really think is that funny and probably meant for just the kids. But, hey, he has me laughing for a good chunk of everything else. And also, hey, hey. Hey, hey. Yeah, this chicken could have gotten really annoying. But thankfully, he never does. And his clumsiness is almost like, aw, that's kind of endearing, but you also can't help but laugh at it. It's almost like you're watching AFV, America's Funniest Home Videos. Like, you can't help but, like, feel bad for how clumsy these people are, but you also can't help but, like, sickeningly laugh at the schadenfreude going on. I think I touched a little bit on the animation as well. But I think one of the greatest things about Moana is the atmosphere. It is so warm. You never want to leave these beaches. You never want to leave this water. This is where it's really starting to get to a point where the computer animation is starting to become photorealistic. The hair is long, it's wavy, it looks real, the water looks real. Like, I think these story artists and these directors did a really, really good job with this. Like, I think there's a lot of marvelous talent that went into this. And even though there is a lot to really adore about Moana, the soundtrack, the voice actors, the animation, like I said, this movie does have a tendency to fall back on some of those Disney cliches that I was alluding to. And I do appreciate that this movie does have a lot of creative elements thrown into it, like the climax and the reveal of the heart of Te Fiti and the island of Te Fiti. Like, I can't lie, I remember the first time I watched this in the theaters, and I remember hearing people tearing up at that ending. Like, that's how poignant this stuff is. And I also gotta give Moana credit where it's due. This is another Disney princess movie where our lead doesn't fall in love. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they could have had Maui and Moana maybe kiss at the end, but it wouldn't have felt right. And I'm glad it almost feels like an estranged uncle who Moana does not want to have along for the journey, and then they end up having a really nice bond and a really nice embrace at the end. But that's another thing. I feel like this bond, like, over the course of the whole hour 50 minute runtime, whatever it is, this bond between Moana and Maui is so wishy-washy to me. Because yes, Moana is enraptured initially by Maui during his musical number, and Maui has to reluctantly be brought along for the ride, even though he's the one who kind of caused all the conflicts to begin with by stealing the heart of Te Fiti. And they eventually do start to create a nice bond with each other. And then when they start helping each other, yeah, his hook takes one big hit and it doesn't have magic anymore. And there's a really unnecessary rift and a split between those two characters that I really did not feel like the movie needed. Like, it honestly just felt like the script was putting that in there and that inner conflict between the two to make the movie go by longer. Like, I'm convinced that that's why that's in there. And then I also feel like Maui's a little bit too easily forgiven at the end. Even though he's the one who caused all this conflict, all he does is bow his head at the island and he kind of like drags his toes a little bit. He apologizes kind of insincerely and then he gets his hook back. Like, I don't know, like that just didn't really feel as earned to me as I would have wanted it. But overall, even though I do have nitpicks and Moana's not in my top tier of Disney movies, it's still super enjoyable. And I can certainly see why people love this movie, and I can see why it's as popular as it is. I guess it's the most watched movie on Disney Plus at like 750 million minutes. Like, holy shit. But really good adventure, phenomenal atmosphere, some really kick-ass songs. I'm going to give Moana an A-. Yeah, this is Disney operating at its best in the mid-2010s, and I can't wait for the sequel. It's not the same directors attached, but you have The Rock coming back, you have Auli'i Carvalho coming back, and a couple other names being added into this voice cast. I'm curious to see where this goes. And if you're curious to see where it goes, let me know down in the comments section. Let me know what you think of Moana as well. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Tap on that thumbs up as well. And look out for my review of Moana 2, which comes out this Thanksgiving. And clearly there is no shortage of topics here on this channel. I also have to watch Gladiator in preparation for Gladiator 2. I've already talked about The Wizard of Oz in preparation for Wicked, and that review was a lot of fun. And truly, guys, y'all are the best. Thank you so much again for tuning in. And you're welcome! Yeah, no, I'm kidding. I wouldn't end it like that. With all that being said, back talk commence.